Hi again. This is Ed Rudiger. Remember, I told you a story last week. I'm so glad you're looking at another story. You're looking for another story today. That makes me very, very happy. Welcome. Remember last week I told you a story about Genesis, how God made everything? I got another story from the same book in the Bible, same book of Genesis. And this is also a story about how God made things, but in particular how he made the first person and how he showed love to that person by something else he did. Okay? So that's just going to be the story for today. Before I do that, I got a question for you. Do you know what the word lonely means? Do you know what it means to be lonely? Well, lonely means you're all by yourself. There's nobody around, nobody to talk to, nobody to play with. Now, when you're all by yourself and you got nobody to talk with and nobody to play with, how does it make you feel? How do you feel when you're all by yourself? Well, sometimes it makes you feel sad. And this is a story about how God saw that the first person he made was sad and did something to help him. Okay, but on with the story. Now, remember that last week in the story, everything started with water. This one's different because everything started with dry land. I got you to close your eyes and I want you to see like a desert. Have you ever seen a picture of a desert? Nothing but sand and dirt and all. Nothing there. Okay, dry land. God was looking down and said, man alive, look at all this dirt. Look at all this sand. Look at all this dry land. Man, this isn't pretty. Yeah, I could do better than having just a bunch of dirt and sand on the earth. So God started making things. And he started making things to put on the dirt. And you want to know what he made? He started making things like grass. You know, what color is grass? That's right, it's green. He started making green grass. And he started making trees. And what color are trees? Well, a lot of different colors. Part of them are brown, part of them are green, and all. He started making trees. And he made flowers. And we know there are all kinds of different colors of flowers. So God is making trees, and he's making flowers, and he's making bushes, and he's making vegetables. What's your favorite vegetable? You know, my favorite vegetable, I love tomatoes. I just love tomatoes. And God made himself some tomatoes, and he made some fruit. What's your favorite fruit? Yep, I like oranges, and I like pears. So God's making all this stuff, and in fact, everything looks so good. God says, you know what I'm going to call this? I'm going to call this a garden. I'm going to call this a garden. And since it's close to a place called Eden, I'm going to call it the Garden of Eden. Boy, is this beautiful. But all this stuff, there's something missing, right? There's something missing in the garden. I got all these plants, but you know, sometimes I want to have a conversation with someone, and I'll tell you, have you ever tried to talk to a tree? It's a pretty one-sided conversation, isn't it? I mean, you may be talking about all the kind of things you did at school or around the house or things you did with your mom and dad, all that stuff. And what does the tree say? Nothing. The tree says nothing. So God wanted to have something around with whom he could have a conversation. And he said, let me think. I need to make something that has a mouth, and I need to make something that has a brain so that we can talk. And as he was thinking, he picked up some of the dirt. Now, this dirt was more like clay than the kind of dirt you find in the yard. And have you ever seen clay or worked with clay? It's kind of like Play-Doh. You know Play-Doh? What can you do with Play-Doh? Yeah, you can make little things. And so he's got this kind of Play-Doh in his hand, and God starts thinking, well, I want to make something I can talk with. And he starts fiddling with it. And all of a sudden, he's kind of shaped it into a person. Have you ever done that with Play-Doh? Kind of shaped it into a person? Well, that's what God did. Now, this little figure is kind of what he made. He made himself a man. Now, this isn't Adam. This is actually Bert from a movie, Mary Poppins. But we're going to pretend right now that God made this little person. And see, he's got a mouth right here, and he's got eyes, and actually he's got a cane, and which means he could dance around and all. But God made him, and God said, this is great. I can have a conversation, but you need a name. So I'm going to give you a name. I'm going to name you Adam. And in a language called Hebrew, Adam means person. So I'm going to call you Mr. Man. I'm going to call you Adam. How you doing, Adam? And Adam says, I'm doing fine, God. Thanks for making me. And God said, think nothing of it. When I want to have a conversation with you, I know we can talk. And Adam says, boy, I'd love to talk to you, God. Whenever you want a conversation, I'm here for you. And God says, here, I'm going to put you in this beautiful garden. And by the way, it's the Garden of Eden, Adam. And you can have fun. You can run in the grass. You can climb the trees. You can smell the flowers. You just have a high old time. And Adam says, that sounds pretty good to me. So Adam goes into the garden. And he's having a good time. And he's running in the grass. And he's climbing the trees. And he's smelling the flowers. But you remember how God was, wanted somebody to talk to? Well, see, Adam feels the same way. He's a little bit, what's the word? Lonely. Because Adam doesn't have anybody to talk to. Doesn't have anybody to play with. He's got to climb trees by himself, which is dangerous. He wants a friend. And God sees that and says, that's really, really a shame. I love Adam so much, I don't want him to be alone. And so God started making stuff, that Adam might have as a friend. And let's see, he makes bears. Only this bear looks like a snowman. And Adam says, I'm not sure I can be a friend with a bear. And God says, okay, I'll try something else. And so he makes bunnies. Bunny, hopping around, eating carrots, all kinds of stuff. And Adam says, bunnies are soft and nice, but you can't talk to a bunny. And God says, okay, I'll have bunnies around. They can play with you, and that'll be good. And God says, how about I make you, what is that? Yeah, I'll make you a penguin, Adam. And boy, that penguin, he could swim in the water and he could get fish and all. And Adam says, well, thank you, God. That's really nice, especially giving him earmuffs and all. But, I can't talk to a penguin either. And God said, okay, well, we'll have penguins around. You can play with them, but got to keep on making stuff. Okay? So then God says, ooh, Adam, I got something perfect. I made you a bug. And Adam looks at God and says, God, you got to be kidding me. Have you seen the size of that bug? And God says, well, I thought bugs were a pretty good idea. I mean, bugs are kind of nice to have around. And Adam said, are you kidding me? That bug is what? Huge! It's huge! I can't play with a giant bug. And God said, okay, maybe next time I make bugs, I'll make them a little smaller. But I get your point, Adam. Maybe bugs aren't the best kind of friend. And so Adam then, still standing there, God says, here, Adam, I've made you a horse. And I listened to what you said about the bug, so I made the horse really small. And Adam said, good try, God, but, I can't be a friend. I can't have a friend for a horse. I mean, horses don't talk much. You can ride them. If you made them a little bigger, I could ride it. But, geez, God, it's a horse. You can't talk to a horse. And God said, okay, I'm going to try some more. And so God made him the next thing, God said, what about this? Now, what do you think? What is this right here? It looks like a dog to me. I made you a dog. And the dog says, what? Woof, woof. And Adam said, well, you're getting close, God, because I like this dog. And this dog and I, we can walk around together and we can chase one another. But, sometimes I want to have a conversation. I want to talk to another person who can talk back. And all this dog does is bark. And so you're getting close, God. I kind of like this dog you made me. But, it's still lonely. I still need a friend. And so one night, God's thinking, and one night, when Adam goes to sleep, God looks down at him. And God says, man, I just love Adam to death. I don't want him to be lonely. I want him to be happy. Gosh, he's got this big old garden to play in. I want him to have a friend. So as Adam was sleeping, God took a little piece of Adam, a little bit of Adam, and God started to make something new, something he hadn't made before. And what God made for Adam was a friend. God made Adam a friend. And when Adam woke up, he saw his friend. Wow, I have a friend now. And so not only can we run through the fields and climb up trees and smell flowers, but I can talk to her and she can talk to me and we can share things. We can laugh together. Sometimes when bad things happen, we can cry together. We can be friends. And Adam said, God, thank you so much. I'm going to call my friend Eve. And so Adam and Eve, with this huge garden, they could be friends together. And when God saw that Adam really liked Eve, that they were friends, made God feel real good. And last week, when I told you the story about how God made things, you remember the word God used after he had made the sky and after he'd made the dry land and all the plants at the end. You remember the word God used every time he made something? When he made it, he looked down and he said, man, that is good. And when God saw that Adam was happy with his new friend Eve, God said, you know, that's really good. Well, that's the story today, the story of Adam and Eve. I hope you enjoyed it. And in fact, I hope you come back next Sunday because I got another story for you that I want to share with you. But until I talk to you next week, I want you to remember one thing. And if you don't remember anything else, this is the one thing I want you to remember. I want you to remember that God loves you. Now you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Goodbye.